Hello, everyone, and welcome to our podcast. This is JB.
And I'm Chandler, and this is the Unbiased Hard Take. And on today's Unbiased Hard Take, topic 1, flipping over to the NFC this week. Last week we discussed top 5 AFC quarterbacks. This week we will discuss the top 5 quarterbacks in the NFC. JB, going from 1 to 5, who do you have as the top 5 quarterbacks in the NFC?
Well, for me, for starters, there is not a lot to choose from here.
It's a good thing for us Packers.
Since there is Aaron Rodgers is out of the NFC. He went to the AFC.
Season of love.
Yep. So there is not a lot of quarterbacks to choose from.
Correct.
To my number 1 is no shocker, Jalen Hurts.
Ta-da.
Oh my God. Oh no.
What a surprise.
What do you thought I was going to say? Jalen Fields?
Justin Fields.
Get out of here. Oh, but no, Jalen Hurts is my number 1 QB for the NFC, and here is my reason why. He is coming off of a MVP caliber season of last year. He went to the Super Bowl that year. He was highest paid quarterback in the conference. And he is a dual threat weapon. He can run and he can pass.
Yes.
Very well.
Yes.
And then I think the year before he also had almost a MVP season as well, but we all knew that.
It wasn't quite MVP, but they made the playoffs.
Yes, exactly. But they did make the playoffs at his first time starting too. So that is saying something. My number 2. There is so much to choose.
This is where things can get funky.
Oh, yes. There's so much. So much. You know what? Number 2, Dak Prescott. He is probably the second best quarterback, and that's the reason why I'm saying it. But he is the second best quarterback in the NFC, even though he is injured a lot, throws a lot of interceptions on this, because he is a second person on the team. He has to have a number 1 person to be good. His second or third year as a quarterback when Zeke was suspended for a few games. You know how many interceptions that he had when Zeke was out? 7 interceptions and only like 4 or 5 touchdowns. And then when Zeke was there, that's when Zeke was in his prime. He actually did good and he wasn't even injured. He was amazing. I'm not going to lie. He was actually really amazing. Yes. He was a fan. He was a hard person to be, or the best QB to be in the fantasy world. But we're talking about real life here. Whenever did you see Dak Prescott in the playoffs?
He's been in the playoffs quite a bit.
Quite a bit, but has he won?
2 times. That's it.
2 times, exactly. Twice.
Jalen
Hurts is in his 3rd year in, and he already went to the Super Bowl.
Yes.
The Cowboys has the best defense, in my opinion, in the NFC. The best defense.
That's for sure.
Dallas has the best offensive line. Dallas used to have the best weapons. And yet Dak Prescott could not do it. He only won 2 playoff games. 2. But there's
in a weak NFC, this could be the year.
Exactly. So I mean, there's a lot of quarterbacks, but my number 3.
This is where things get really fun.
He is an old guy. He's a little bit older.
I know where you're going with this.
Matthew Stafford.
I knew it. Okay.
Through all the years that he was a Detroit Lion, he put that team, him and Calvin put the team on their backs. Mm-hmm. Matthew Stafford was a I was probably say he was probably one of the toughest quarterbacks in the NFC when he played. When he dislocated his shoulder and they couldn't pop it back in place, that one game, I thought I forgot what it was, but it was like I think it was a game to be in the playoffs. I do believe. I'm not. Don't mistake me or anything, but I think that's what it was
With Detroit.
with Detroit when
No,
he
he
threw.
made the playoffs one time.
Yeah, but I'm talking about the one when he messed up his shoulder and he couldn't on his passing arm.
Against Cleveland?
I do believe so. I think
That
it
was
was.
his rookie season.
Yep. So within his
And then
rookie
Brady
season,
Quinn played that game.
so when he went in there, went into his dislocated shoulder and like whatever was wrong with the shoulder, he went in there and he threw the game winning touchdown. To me, that takes a lot of guts. You don't see you don't see a lot of quarterbacks even doing it, even in their rookie season. Even when he was in his rookie season, he was actually really good.
He was.
He actually made the Lions like noticeable,
slightly respectable
when him and Calvin Johnson played. Even though their defense was atrocious, but him and Calvin both had to put that team on their back to actually win games, and that's why he is my quarterback number 3. And plus, when he went to the Rams, to the Los Angeles Rams, the first time he went, he won a Super Bowl.
That's true. He has a ring.
And he has a ring.
Jalen Hurts don't.
Dak Prescott don't. No one in the NFC has a ring except for Matthew Stafford.
And there's something to be said for that. So
exactly.
That's a good number 3. I like that.
Number 4. Ooh, man. Like I said, there's so many. But probably going to go with Jared Goff.
Okay.
Even when he was with the Rams, he was iffy, but he was getting up there. He brought
he made a Super Bowl.
Yes, exactly. They did. He did go went to the Super Bowl, but he lost.
New England.
To New England, but he got them there. That's when he was on the peak side of everything. Oh, yeah. And now he is in Detroit. When he was on went to the Detroit, he brought that team to a winning team. And he's showing how to be a leader. He's showing how to be anything you could ask for. And I like their coach. I really love their Detroit Lions coach. He's probably one of the best things, or probably the second, third best, fourth, fifth best thing that happened in the Lions era.
Oh yeah.
Other than
Barry Sanders and
Calvin Johnson, Matthew Stafford. So
you're probably correct. Yeah.
So for them, Jared Goff coming in, having a young team coming in, and actually picking up pieces in this offseason, actually looking 10 times more better than what they did last season.
Yes.
So I'm seeing a lot of good things happening in Detroit. So it might take them this year, might take them next year to actually be a force to be reckoned with in the NFC.
Okay.
They might be, honestly, they might be number 2 seed probably in a few years. In a few years.
Okay. That's a hot take. I like that.
If they keep this up, there might be on between the Eagles if they keep the tendency up. But between the Eagles and Lions in a few years, Lions are going to be right there.
Okay. I like
probably one of the best seasons the Detroit Lions franchise has ever seen is probably in a year or two. Not this year. Okay. Not this year.
Okay.
But in a few more years, they're going to be a force to be reckoned with, and they are young.
It's true. Okay. I like that. Interesting take.
It is interesting. And my fifth. Is it my fifth?
Yes.
Dang. For me, it is between Geno Smith or Derek Carr. Derek Carr.
Who you playing with? Who you taking? Who you taking to start your franchise with? You're a GM in the NFL, truly, and they say, listen, you can have Geno Smith right now, or Derek Carr right now. As a coach and a manager, who are you picking? That's how I like to picture things sometimes. If you're up in the air, that's how I picture it.
You know what? I'm going with the young buck. I'm taking Derek Carr.
Okay, I agree with that actually.
Because he is 32 and he's actually looking good, but I think it's a little too late for Geno Smith to actually finally bloom as a player.
This is probably the best we'll see of him.
Yep.
He might have another decent season and continue to just be decent. You know what I mean?
But as at 32, I think it's done.
He may have 2 or 3 good years.
Yep. So I am taking Derek Carr.
I agree.
And for quite a while when he was a Raider, he was actually looking really good as an Oakland Raider. He actually brought them to a playoff. This is when they were actually, the defense was amazing when they had Khalil Mack. Just everything was actually looking good for them until
he got hurt.
Because I think they would have went. Yep. But I do believe if he was healthy and did not get injured, I do believe that Derek Carr would have brought the Raiders to a NFC championship that year.
AFC,
yeah.
He's in the NFC.
He's on the NFC now. But yes, right. And when he was in AFC, when he was in the AFC, he would have brought them to an AFC championship game and lose. But he got them there.
He did. He got into the playoffs and actually got to play a couple of years ago.
Mm-hmm.
Not this past year, but the year before that, when they had Robert Saleh, who is now the Packers special teams coach. Thank you for letting him go. They made the playoffs that year too.
Yep.
So he's led them to the playoffs twice. He's got hurt the first time and couldn't play.
Yep, and then the second time he just went complete.
Do very well.
Yeah, doo-doo.
Yeah.
But and the rest of the guys, they're young. Except for Kirk Cousins, even though he has a few weapons here and there, but he's honestly really, to me, not that good. You have to be good.
We disagree on that.
He has to be good in Sunday night football games.
It's fair.
And when he doesn't have his weapons, he doesn't know where to go. And he's been in the year for on how long? I mean, he's taken 46 sacks.
It's a lot.
He's probably the second or third most quarterback to taking the sacks between this era, and Ben Roethlisberger was probably number 1.
And that's fair. Well, speaking of Kirk Cousins, you're going to be surprised with my list because going number 1, obviously, no surprise here. Jalen Hurts is easily the best quarterback in the NFC.
No surprise.
Last 2 years made the playoffs. Last year was in the Super Bowl. Over 3,000 passing yards the last 2 seasons. Over 100.1, 101.5 QBR. Again, dual threat, like you said. He can run, he can pass. I mean, he was going to be the MVP of the league, in my opinion, until he had that kind of late season injury run, you know what I mean? But they were already so secure in the playoffs, they just really didn't want to risk him, type of deal. He'd have been the MVP. He would have.
Really?
I think he'd have been the MVP had he not gotten hurt. But Mahomes, not to say he didn't deserve it, because he didn't get hurt. It's not Mahomes' fault. Not Mahomes' fault. Hurts got hurt a little bit. Mahomes played all year. I'm not mad who he got it, but I think Hurts would have been the league MVP had he not had that late season run of kind of some small injuries. Truly.
Okay.
Now again, number 2. we're actually on the same page here. I think Dak Prescott. And my number 3 quarterback, you'll see what I mean. But if I start a franchise right now, I don't think there's an NFC quarterback better than Dak Prescott.
Yeah.
Like I
I
said, he's
mean,
been to the playoffs multiple times. I mean, career-wise, 166 touchdowns, 65 picks. I mean, 2 years ago, 37 touchdowns, 10 picks. Last year, 23 touchdowns, 15 picks. That's a lot. But he did make the playoffs. He did win a playoff game against the GOAT Tom Brady. I know that was like a washed-up Brady, but still beat him in the playoffs. So he has two. His issue is if Dak Prescott was the quarterback of the Texans, he would get praise across the league.
oh yeah,
But
for
he's
sure.
not. Because it's the Texans. There's no real
Hmm.
expectation. He's the quarterback of the Cowboys. If you're not winning the Super Bowl every year as a quarterback of the Cowboys, you're going to get hate. And that's just how it is.
Yep.
That's just how it is. Now, but I can't pick another quarterback other than Dak Prescott in the NFC better. I just can't.
Yep. Same here.
Consistency's there. Now, number 3, we're actually on the same page here, Matt Stafford. And I think a lot of that is because 2 years ago, the man won the Super Bowl. The man had an injury last year. Yeah, kind of career-threatening.
Hmm.
But he had an injury last year. And let's look at his stats, shall we? From last season and before he got hurt. Because really, you remember the Rams last year, at the end of the season, they were kind of like a practice squad looking team.
Oh yeah.
They were nothing like the same. Cup was injured. They had Aaron Donald injured. You had Matt Stafford. They were just hurt.
Yeah. That whole had like second and third strings on the field, and it did not look pretty.
So last year before he got hurt, he completed 68% of his passes, higher than the Super Bowl season. Had over 2,000 yards, on pace for over 3,000 yards, 10 touchdowns, 8 picks. Again, not great, but not horrible. So let's see what he does this season coming off of an injury.
Hmm.
I mean, the man has a Super Bowl ring. Been consistent his whole career, all the way back to his rookie season. This dude, we could debate if he'd be in the Hall of Fame. That might be a different topic for a different day. I think he belongs in the Hall of Fame. Now I do. But consistency level, has a Super Bowl, led the Lions to the playoffs. I can't think of a number 3 quarterback. I mean, he's 35, injuries, but let's see what he does. With a Super Bowl ring on your finger, you deserve the benefit of the doubt.
Hmm.
Go ask Jalen Hurts where his Super Bowl ring's at.
And he is the only quarterback in the NFC to actually have a Super Bowl ring.
Yes. Yes.
So
So we're on the same page up in our first 3. Now, that's where things get fun. Number 4, Kirk Cousins.
I thought you were going to go Baker Mayfield.
Absolutely not. No, the Buccaneers are going to have a rough season, I think. It's going to be a rough season down south. But, Kirk Cousins, again, I know you're not a big fan, but this dude's stat-wise consistent down the line, down the middle. Even down to his first season as a role of a starter in 2015 with the Redskins at the time. So almost 10 years of straight consistency. He's led the Redskins to the playoffs. He has led the Vikings to the playoffs. So he can get you at least to the playoffs.
Yep.
He can. And in the NFC, Geno Smith, okay, one good season, whoop-de-doo. I would take Kirk Cousins in the NFC over the field. He can at least get you to the playoffs, and he has won one playoff game. No, it's not really that great, but he does at least have one playoff victory, which is kind of sad. He kind of sucks in prime time, like you said. But
That is the problem for me with Kirk Cousins. You have to win the primetime games to actually be one of the greater quarterbacks. And to me, Kirk Cousins just does not do it. I mean, yes, even though last year, I will say last year he did a little bit better with the primetime games. But a little bit better, but it does not save him though. I mean, he still didn't, do anything amazing. But
no.
he did. I will admit he did slightly better. But through his whole entire career, what has he done in the prime times?
Right.
Nothing.
And you're exactly right. But he can at least get you there.
Get you.
Which I'll take it. I'll take that in a weak NFC. Now, speaking of getting you there, this is where number 5 I kind of go back and forth because honorable mention Derek Carr because he's not on my list. Because number 5 has to be Jared Goff. He's been to a Super Bowl. He's led the Rams to the playoffs. He led the Lions to a 9-8 record last year. He's had good, at least solid statistics his whole career. Consistent with the Lions, been good with the Lions, been good with the Rams. Derek Carr's never been to a Super Bowl. That's what it comes down to, because they're both kind of the same to me. But one's been to a Super Bowl, one hasn't. That means something to me. The Lions are probably the favorite to win the NFC North. I think the Packers will at least contend. The Vikings will probably contend as well. The Bears probably not. So I'm not saying they will 100% win, but last year the Lions had a top offense. They have Amon-Ra St. Brown. They have all these weapons, and they do. So,
and they're adding more. And just today,
Jared Goff.
Just today, they actually got a really good running back, and I am very upset with it. I'm upset. Steelers got rid of Benny Snell.
So they got another weapon.
So they have an amazing young talent as a running back. And I guess
they have a good coach. Right. But while Jordan goes in frustration, we're going to move on to topic 2. Topic 2, we talked about the playoff teams in the NFC. We're going to run through real quick for the next about 10 minutes. Our top 7 teams. Again, JB going from 1 to 7 in the AFC. This is the fun conference for this.
Oh, yes. So much talented teams in the AFC.
Yes.
Like basically,
difficult.
Except for the AFC South, you have nothing.
You got the Jags.
I mean, yeah, that's the only team, no. So
yeah, it's still somebody.
I mean, the AFC West is stacked.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, you have 2 powerhouses. So.
Oh yeah. So who you got number 1?
My number 1 is no shocker here is the Kansas City Chiefs. They've added and during this offseason they did add a few pieces to their defense that they got rid of during this offseason, but they gained more. When they got rid of Juju Smith-Schuster to the Patriots, they did get a rookie receiver and during the draft, and he was actually pretty good. And I think he's a lot better than Juju right now, in my opinion.
Okay.
So Kansas City is number 1. And number 2 is their rival, Buffalo Bills. Even though the Buffalo Bills cannot get it done in the AFC Championship game. Been 2 years in a row. Josh Allen.
They lost the divisional this year. They won the wild card against the Dolphins barely, and then they lost to the Chiefs in the, remember?
Yep.
Divisional. Because Joe Burrow made it to the
that's right.
AFC title game.
I was thinking about the year before. But yeah.
But you're right, yeah. They're a good regular season team.
Their whole entire roster from top to bottom is outstanding.
Oh, it is, yes.
It is a Super Bowl caliber team from start to finish. I mean, which Madden curse last year? Last year, Patrick Mahomes was on the cover, and look who won the Super Bowl and the MVP.
Yeah, but look who his brother is. That's enough of a curse in its own.
He lives with it. He lives with that thing. I mean, and his wife.
He got married to his wife last year. Well, he got married to his wife, Brittany. Yeah, that's a curse. We're talking about. And made quarterback.
Them two, Jackson and Brittany, both together is just no good. I mean,
it's a curse, so. I'll
give 100% props to Patrick Mahomes for actually last year saying, all of this needs to stop now. And what happened? Everything stopped. Everything was quiet. Did not hear anything.
And it's true. And they won the Super Bowl.
And after they won the Super Bowl, all that was out of the water. And I think he did not care because the season was over.
Time to relax.
I will give 100% props to Patrick Mahomes.
Number 3.
will probably be the Los Angeles Chargers.
It can't be. Same division as the Chiefs.
Oh yeah, that's right. So, I mean, if we're talking about like everything,
Yeah, I see.
the Chargers would be number 3. But
Right.
if we are in the playoffs topic,
Yep. You need one from the
each
AFC South, and you need one from the AFC
so
AFC North with the Steelers division. Yeah.
Yep. So number 3 for the playoffs is going to be Cincinnati.
Fair.
They are the toughest in the North. And I think Pittsburgh's easily. Oh yeah, Pittsburgh is number 2 in the AFC North in my opinion. But when you look at Bengals, when Joe Mixon is a true powerhouse of a running back, he could do it all. He could pass. He could. I mean,
Yes.
He can pass. We've seen it happen. He can pass. He could run. He could pass.
Block. Yeah.
He can block. He can catch. He can do anything.
And you got T. Higgins on the outside.
Yep, and you got T. Higgins with Jamar Chase. I mean, Joe Burrow has
Joey B.
He has the weapons.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
And his line got 10 times, well, not 10 times, probably like 5 times more better than what he had last season. Because I think he got hit a lot of times.
He did.
So, for that being said, their line got a lot better. Joe Mixon is healthier than ever. Having all the Joe Burrow and the Jamar Chase's connection when they were in college, and it's still coming into the pros, and it's even looking 10 times more better. I mean, you cannot stop that chemistry. I mean, you can't. It's even if you stop Chase, he has T. Higgins.
Exactly. So the Bengals easily, I agree.
And yeah. So Bengals is number 3. And number 4 will be no surprise here for the AFC South is Jacksonville Jaguars. Trevor Lawrence has gone through a hot he was hot last season.
Late last year, especially after midway point.
Late last year he looked amazing.
Yes, and they won a playoff game.
He even won a playoff game. Even through his late run in the regular season, which brought them into a playoff team and actually won. So he has the caliber to actually take in there now. Even when he came in late, he knows what to do. He knows how to get them there. And if he starts day 1 in the regular season, he starts hot right off the gate. The Jacksonville Jaguars might be head to head with all of these powerhouse teams.
Right.
Who knows? They might even beat the Kansas City Chiefs.
I won't go that far.
Yeah, we're not going that far. So, my number 4 is the Los Angeles Chargers. Because Justin Herbert...
5. Yeah, 5.
5, yeah. So my number 5 will be the Los Angeles Chargers.
Okay, that's a good wild card position, I think.
All because of him the Justin Herbert, and they have that wide receiver duo, Keenan Allen, and what is their second person? Can't remember on top of my head, but it's Keenan Allen and Williams.
Mike Williams, yeah.
Yeah, Mike Williams. I remember his last name. I just don't remember his first name. But Keenan Allen and Mike Williams both together are amazing.
If they're healthy, that's the question.
That is the thing. That's why they're my wild card spot. But if they're healthy, it is a very tough decision.
I mean, yeah.
So with that being and their defense is actually looking a lot better with Joey Bosa on the end and Khalil Mack on the other end. I think Khalil Mack is still there. Yeah, I think he's still there.
He is, yeah.
Yeah. So with them being on the ends and actually having a young secondary core with Derwin James, but he has to be healthy for that
They
defense
have the talent.
huh?
They have all the talent in the world.
Yeah, well, yeah. Well, I'm not, but they have to. If Derwin James, he has to be healthy for that team or for that defense to actually be amazing. If he's not there and not directing traffic or anything, they have no one. I can't even think of anybody else that actually can do it on that defense. So if
you're correct. I mean, he's the leader of the secondary.
Oh yeah.
And especially in the same division as Patrick Mahomes, you need a good secondary.
Yeah. So with him being there, and he has to be healthy, and if he's not, Chargers are in trouble.
I agree. Wild card. Number 6.
My number 6. They are. I can't forget about the Jets. I mean, the Jets are actually looking very good, but I'm going Pittsburgh Steelers. I can't. Okay. I can't. Okay. So I'm not being biased. They are a really good wild card.
Okay.
They got their defense 10 times more better. Their offense gotten 10 times more better. We actually have a offensive line. We finally have a offensive line.
Yes.
I can say it again. We have a better offensive line. So, and then even as a lineman, he went up because he lost his starting spot when he got drafted for Ben's last season. He was supposed to be Ben's center. Keep talking about Kenneth Green.
Yeah.
So, and now he lost his starting spot. He didn't want to give up and be like, I want to go to a different team because this team doesn't want me. He even went to Mike Tomlin and he actually said, what can I do to make this team better? You know what we did? We're having him line up in the tight end and fullback spot. And when that dude moves, you're getting laid out.
Your take might not be that hard. Mike Tomlin never had a losing season. They were 9-8 last year and almost made it anyway. Yep. So really, you might not totally be off there. I don't think that's a horrible take.
They might win 10 or 11 games this season. They went.
Maybe said it.
They went 9-8 this last year.
Okay.
They're 10th. This whole entire offseason, we gotten weapons. We've gotten line. We gotten a defense. We got a secondary. We got a veteran cornerback to help our secondary. We've gotten a lot better safeties. We got Keno Neal as one of our safeties. We got Patrick Peterson on there. We just signed Joey Porter.
Junior.
Yeah, Joey Porter Jr. My fault. Sorry.
Okay. Now, I'm really interested to see who you pick at 7 because I'm interested to see who you leave out. There's some teams, man.
Mm-hmm. Well,
you got the Dolphins.
Well, I can't go anywhere in the AFC South because, I mean, they're all...
there's only one team that'll make it out of the AFC South.
Yeah, there's only going to be one team, and it's going to be the Jaguars. I'm sorry to all the AFC South people that's as fans of the Texans, the Colts, and the Titans. I'm sorry, but your team is just not that good. Now, even though the Titans has gotten D-Hop and Derrick Henry, but we still don't know what Derrick Henry is going to do in the middle of the season.
You're correct.
So, and we don't know what your quarterback is because Tannehill is being a little stubborn, but that's beyond me.
You got Levis and you got Malik Willis, so who's it going to be?
Yeah. And we've seen Malik Willis did not do absolutely well during his starts. And Will Levis is...
You got at 7. I'm interested. This is interesting.
It's between Miami and the Jets.
Okay.
And I'm going with the Jets.
Picking the Jets. Okay.
I am picking the Jets because the Dolphins, they have a lot of good weapons, but
They do.
they lost Jalen Ramsey. He's out for the
Yeah.
season.
Well,
So
he's part of it.
he's out of the picture. You really didn't get any good defensive players.
Not really.
To my knowledge, you really didn't. And we don't know what Tua's health condition is.
Correct.
So,
Yeah, the Jets are a safer pick with A-Rod especially.
yeah.
They got
So
defense. They got some weapons. That's a good pick.
and I hope Tua does absolutely phenomenal this season and he is healthy as he can be when he gets hit. But I'm scared to death for Tua.
Yeah.
Honestly, if I was Tua and I would have had all these concussions and one of them was severe when he looked like he was actually dead on the field,
Yeah.
when his hands got all crunched up and everything, that not look right. At that point, for me, if I was him, I'd be like, okay, I'm not healthy. I'm just gonna hang it up. I'm just gonna retire. But
Okay.
he's coming back, and I hope
I agree.
he is healthy.
Because I'm a left-handy myself, played quarterback on a way lower level than NFL, obviously. But I was a former quarterback myself, and I'm left-handed, so I root for a left-handed quarterback. So, too, I'm hoping you're proving JB wrong here.
But yeah,
So, okay.
But no, I'm not proving. I'm not saying anything. But I hope he does amazing, and he goes over the Jets. But for me, it's the health of Tua, and they really don't have a good backup quarterback.
And no, especially in a tough AFC, I agree. And
Yep.
getting into that, we'll
So
kind of discuss that in a bit.
So my Jets is number 7 just because of Aaron Rodgers and that young team, that young defense, the young offense. It looks amazing. They look amazing last year without Aaron Rodgers, but with Aaron Rodgers now there, having that young talent behind him, and having, with that talent of with being best friends with Sauce Gardner. So with that, Jets are going to be my number 7 pick.
This is my favorite because our lists are totally different almost.
Yep.
However, number 1, Chiefs. League MVP, 2-time Super Bowl champ, been to the Super Bowl 3 times. Travis Kelce, you have the other weapons around him. Andy Reid, at least a solid defense. So, I mean, obviously, this dude proved he can win it without Tyreek Hill. Nothing further to talk about there. Chiefs, number 1. Moving on.
Yep.
Number 2, Bengals. I think this is the year I think the Bengals break through. I think Joe Burrow, his ankles will be just fine. You have Jamar Chase, you have T. Higgins, you have Joe Mixon, you have a good defense, you have a outstanding head coach. Joe Burrow has proven to be better than Josh Allen to me. Been to a Super Bowl already. I think this might be the year, truly to me. It's hard to repeat as champions. We'll make our Super Bowl predictions later at a different date. However, I think I already know mine. Giving you a hint there. I think this might be the year the Bengals kind of break through a little bit. So, as a hint, possibly for my prediction, we'll see though. That's how the preseason continues to move. So, moving on to number 3, actually, Jacksonville Jaguars.
Okay, our lists are completely different.
Here's why though. Because how many times do you play your division opponent a year? Twice. So 6 of their games, Jacksonville, 2 against Tennessee, 2 against the Colts, 2 against Houston. Great. Now the Chargers, the Raiders, the Rams, and the Broncos get to beat the shit out of each other all season long. The Steelers, the Browns, the Bengals, and the Ravens get to beat the crap out of each other all season long, while the Jaguars get to beat up on the Texans all year long. So ultimately, yes, I think the Bills are a better team. I think the Jags will get in based on how crappy their division is. They're going to beat up on bad teams all year long. And they get to play the Falcons also. I'm looking at their schedule here, and it does get kind of difficult at certain points because, yes, they do play the Chiefs and they do play the Bengals and things of that nature, but 6 of your games are against your division opponents on top of the fact you get to play the Falcons in there. So, number 3, Jags.
Okay.
Number 4, Buffalo Bills. They're going to win their division. They'll be division champions. Josh Allen, awesome player. I don't believe in the Madden curse. That was more of a joke. However, there are a lot of weird coincidences kind of looking at you, the Matrix, possibly. However, no copyright. Please don't sue me. The Buffalo Bills, Josh Allen, you have Stephon Diggs, you have an outstanding defense. Sean McDermott's a good defensive coach. Josh Allen's continued to prove that he owns that division so long as Tom Brady's been out of it. Until the Jets I think the Jets may actually miss the playoffs. Too many distractions, I think. Buffalo Bills win that division. I don't really think there's too people that would disagree with that. However, there are some crazy Jets fans out there.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah. Especially the firefighter one.
Yeah, he doesn't do as many games now.
Well, now he's going to.
Good.
He went. I mean, I don't know if you've seen it, but he went to the Hall of Fame when they're at Jets. I forgot who was in the Hall of Fame.
The Jets and Browns Hall of Fame game.
No, the enshrinement.
Oh, really? Good.
Mm-hmm.
Good.
He actually did the chant.
Good. I miss
So
those uniforms.
Yeah. So I think he's going to be in a lot more this year.
But
anyways,
speaking of the Jets, number 5. Again, I have the Bills at 4. Number 5 is where things can kind of get sort of messy out in the AFC, because really, God, it's kind of hard, man.
Mm-hmm.
Baltimore Ravens, number 5.
Really?
You got them out of your playoff picture.
Yeah.
Lamar Jackson back healthy. They made the playoffs in the AFC last year with Tyler Huntley. Now you got Odell Beckham Jr. They drafted. Oh, who's that receiver they drafted? Research.
Zay Flowers.
Flowers. They have Flowers. They have a good defense. Lamar Jackson back healthy. I don't think there's a John Harbaugh outstanding coach. They win a lot of ugly football games. They're a good coach team top to bottom.
Mm-hmm.
Just a good, fundamentally sound team with the league MVP, formerly at quarterback. Ravens number 5. You got some weapons. Mark Andrews. You got some weapons.
The only reason why I took them out is because we don't know what Odell's health is going to be.
We don't, but they made it without him too.
They made it without him, but and here's the thing: their defense. They didn't get no one on their defensive side. They kept everything the same,
right?
Even though their secondary is iffy at times.
Mm-hmm. It can't, yeah.
But even though they got that young safety, I think his name is Kyle Hamilton. But with everybody else, I mean, you got a pretty good linebacker core, but that can only get you so far.
You're right.
So,
and that's why I have him more as a.
And to me, I think the Steelers did 10 times more better than what anybody else team wise in the whole NFL did. What the Pittsburgh Steelers did. I mean, they got
Kyle
everything.
Hamilton. You're correct.
Yeah. So yeah, I think the Steelers is going to be a 10 times more better team than what the Ravens is going to be this year. But I'm not being biased or anything because that's my favorite team. But I just do believe the Steelers are going to be 10 times more better. Anyways,
you're gonna kill me again then, because number 6 I have the Chargers. Again, I think the Chargers are a good team.
Respectable.
However, they always underachieve. It seems like Justin Herbert, I think, kind of reminds me of the Phillip Rivers. Super good, get you close to the playoffs, good stats. You know how Phillip Rivers kind of was in the fall.
Yep.
That's what the Chargers, man. They did it last year in the playoffs. They blew that big lead, embarrassing lead to the Jaguars. But again, like you said, you kind of covered that. They have a super talented team if healthy. Austin Eckler at running back, Herbert at quarterback. You have the weapons. You do. You have the ability to win. So I'm not going to take them out. However, 6 seed, I think they're going to kind of underachieve a little bit. But they'll still get in, I think, as a wild card, kind of underachieving wild card team.
Okay.
And number 7. Again, the AFC South, no. I already got 2 of the AFC North in. I don't think the Broncos will make a big step. I don't think the Raiders have it either. I'm sorry. I have to keep the Steelers out because I have to put in the Dolphins.
Ooh.
I have to put in the Dolphins. I think the Jets have too many distractions. I think 3 teams in the AFC for any division is too hard. It's impossible this year. Too many good teams in the AFC. That's why I'm taking Pittsburgh out. I think they'll have a good season. I do. I think they'll get super close again. I think they'll. If they get number 7, I wouldn't be surprised because they're my team outside looking in. So don't hate me. But Miami,
I
you
hate
have
you.
Jalen Waddle. You have a good defense. You have Mike McDaniel like coach. You have Tua if he's healthy. Made the playoffs without Tua last year. Tyreek Hill. You have these weapons. Tua can stay healthy. Even 11 games. Even if he plays 11 games. The Jets, too many distractions. Aaron Rodgers, is he going to play like last year? Or is he going to play like the year before that? How's he going to adjust to a new team, new everything? The defense is young. Robert Saleh, can he do it in that tough division? Hard knocks is a distraction. Too many things with the Jets. Give me Miami. Mike McDaniel's a top 5 coach in the league. I think he's a good mind.
Okay. I mean, not bad. Not bad.
Sorry,
I hate you.
he'll strangle my ass.
I hate
But
you.
so there you've heard it first. JB predicted Steelers in. I did not. However, moving on to topic 3, subtopic, we're going to kind of run through this real quick. JB, give me a 1 fantasy tight end you would draft and 1 fantasy tight end you would not draft. We're on a timer here, kind of like shows do. Going to try a little type of thing here. Go.
To
2
me,
minutes. Boom.
for me, my one tight end that I'm going to get is Mark Andrews, even though he is on the Baltimore Ravens. But he is one of the best weapons that Lamar Jackson will have. Is Mark Andrews. Even with Odell, he'd probably be injured. And Zay Flowers, he is a rookie. But Mark Andrews will always be there, just like Travis Kelce is with Patrick Mahomes. Even though Travis Kelce is number 1, but I was still picking Mark Andrews to pick. And my not to pick is, for me, it's Kyle Pitts.
Yeah, kind of disappointing last year, wasn't
He was a very disappointing last season, with everything else, but he has a new quarterback, Mariota, and he's honestly really not that good. The Falcons really didn't pick anybody up really
Not
good.
Mariota. Desmond Ritter.
Oh my fault. Desmond Ritter
Heineke.
or Heineke, but with them, they really didn't pick up anybody good. They only picked up one good person, that was their running back. But yeah, Kyle Pitts is a no-go for me.
Yeah, I drafted him last year, and I will say it was a mistake. Injury year last year. Hopefully he can reproduce the first year. However, my time is up. 2 minutes. We're trying this subtopic a little bit, trying to make things a little more interesting. So, going now. Number 1, 2 draft, TJ Hawkinson from the Minnesota Vikings. I think now with Adam Thielen gone, with Justin Jefferson still there. I mean, last year he was the second best tight end in fantasy, had over, over 10 touchdowns. He had 914 yards, almost 1,000 yards, and 6 touchdowns last year. A good second most yards of tight ends.
Mm-hmm.
With Adam Thielen gone, Kirk Cousins, I think, will be looking to him a little more than he did last year. So that's my 1 to draft. Number 1 to not draft is Cole Kmet from the Chicago Bears. A lot of people think Justin Fields is going to have a breakout year. I don't. And I think the NFC North is way harder than people think it is. The Packers have a good defense. They have a good roster. The Lions have a good team. The Vikings have a good team. The Bears are going to struggle. Cole Kmet last season only had 7 touchdowns, which isn't horrible, but less than 600 yards, only 50 receptions. I look for kind of an underachieving similar year. I don't look for him to take the next step, really, in my opinion. Do not draft in fantasy Cole Kmet, in my opinion. Yep. So there's fantasy tight end. Next week we'll be doing a game. JB will kind of explain that a little bit. We'll kind of combine the fantasy topics with the game and kind of time the fantasy topics is what we're doing. So JB, you want to kind of talk about that? We're going to do the game.
So
next week.
So next week we are going to play a little game called Weddle. Is where you pick one player. If you guys ever played the trending game Wordle, it is basically the same thing. You keep adding players until you get everything green. So me and Chandler over here we are going to play Wordle, and it is 8 guesses, and if you don't get it, you don't get it. So
see who's smarter.
That would be next season. Yep, and it would be who's smarter.
And we're going to combine that with the fantasy topic. That's why we're subtracting the one player to draft, 1 player to not draft. We still want to give you all the fantasy updates you need for your fantasy draft. Get it here first.
Yep.
So next week we'll be doing kicker. So we did tight end this week. So next week will be kicker. Kickers are people too.
Yep.
So
Yep.
check out the sports fact of the day coming soon after this video.
Facebook
like,
be in the
subscribe,
description.
Hit the bell. Right. Like, subscribe, hit the bell. Thank y'all. JB, anything else?
Nope. Just like what he said. Comment. See how we're doing. Interact with us because we will answer. It may not be right away, but it will be. We will respond.
Correct.
You know, like, comment, subscribe, hit the bell for notifications until
Again, hit
we
the
see.
subscribe button.
Yep.
We see a lot of people watching the video, which is great. We have a lot of views on some videos, but come
Yep.
on, hit that subscribe button. Come on.
Just hit it. I mean, we see what it's like. So just hit the subscribe button. It is free. It's free. We all love free things. So
Right.
just hit it. You got an
We'll see y'all
account?
next week.
Just hit subscribe. Yep. We'll see y'all next week. See ya.
Down, down.